So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6, whatever, 7, 8, huh?
6:06, because it might not be there.
No, it's just not, I can't find it. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from July 11th, 2017.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from July 11th, 2017, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Additions and deletions, we need to add under new business, oh, I put it in the wrong place. I don't know, we're not gonna add under new business, we're gonna add it under highway. We're gonna add, Windham Regional, paperwork for the network inventory. It's basically a contract. And then a second for a Bridge 42 contract under highway. And is there anything else, anybody else have anything to add or take off?
Let's see, I got any of those numbers, fire ponds, maybe if that's, bring it up under highway. Are you guys gonna look at Ally Evans, did you do that? Ally Evans fire pond up there?
No, I haven't.
Get it with a trolley, okay. So we probably leave that out then?
I gotta go up with you to look at it.
I don't know if
What's
Well,
happening?
we'll get there, I guess we'll get, put it
Taft
under
Road
highway.
is, the gravel stuff's running right down there and filling in on the pond.
it probably did, well, we'll talk about it, but I'm sure it did this.
I say, we just have to look at it, see if there's anything we can,
We'll add it under highway here.
The culvert failed, I'm sure.
it's coming from, I don't know what, that culvert up by Dairy Lane or where it's coming from, but somewhere up in that area.
Alright, then the next item on the agenda is the bid opening for the paving. I have a question. Who attended the meeting?
Basin attended, and Springfield called, said he couldn't make it at that meeting. And as soon as that happened, I called Craig Hunt to come and let him know. And Basin was the only one that came to the meeting.
Okay,
And Springfield showed interest, he came afterwards. He came the next week, he came this week.
okay, well, the purpose behind having a mandatory meeting was so that everybody got exactly the same information.
Right.
So, we have a bid from both of them, one from Basin and one from Springfield Paving. I don't know how you feel, the
Well,
board
I
feels.
talked to both of them, they got both the exact information, because we went right off the bid sheet, Mr. Allen over. Price per ton place, exactly.
Yeah, that still don't cover it. If it's a mandatory meeting, it should be that.
I don't think we bid.
Well,
That's what it said right in the
I
spec.
know that's what it said.
I mean, that's my question, is do I open both of them? I only open the one that met
You
the
have the right to
criteria.
refuse and accept any bid anyway, so.
What's your pleasure?
Not like he didn't make an effort to say he wasn't, it's not like, all right, I'll show up later, he did call right up and.
Yeah, he did call, because I've got the copy of it.
Unfortunately, they only have one bid.
Just the one bid?
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
All right,
These guys don't do one either way, so. Yeah.
then this would be Basin. I couldn't find the good opener.
Looks like
Not bad.
sharpen it.
Come on, not bad.
I need to sharpen it.
Don't be threatening.
I didn't threaten you.
It's on camera.
Are we worried about it? Okay. Bid amount, 62.95 ton in place. Estimated date of completion, September 1st. And we have their certificate of insurance,
What's the price per ton?
$62.95 per ton in
$62.95.
place.
Okay.
September what, you said?
September first.
September 1st.
By September first.
And that's Basin Brothers.
That's Basin, yes.
Okay.
Do they have an idea how many tons it's gonna take to do? Do that?
They have, we went over where it's going and stuff like that. And
Yep.
he figured it out, and I could figure it out, I didn't take his numbers that day, so.
Well, we have a finite amount of money.
Right.
So,
What that number's gonna be.
So then I can see that number, so.
about 1,270 tons. All you gotta do is take the price and put it into 80,000.
Where'd you get 80,000?
That's what we set aside for.
Oh, then, okay.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, but it may not take all of that, depending on the.
Hey.
Right.
Why not? Because
Yeah.
we got that whole goddamn road cut down soon, needs it.
We're way behind on paving, we're always behind, every time.
Not just a certain place.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I'm just
How
saying.
did you get the 1,200 ton? What did,
Well,
80,000 divided by 62.
80,000 divided by 62.95.
okay, I just, all right. I wasn't sure if you had it,
No,
what you were
no.
doing on the road. It's that, okay.
So I just went by the price per ton and what we had for money.
Yeah.
But that's not my question. My
Right,
question,
but the scope of the work is between the Grafton Town Line and Acton Hill Road.
exactly,
Right.
will that amount of tonnage do what you want done? That's my question.
It should be a little further than that, what I had figured out with the formula, but with the width of the road, it varies, you know, you never know, it's gonna be 1.25 inches compacted in place, so.
Are we gonna be able to do something about the dips where the culverts are? Each culvert's got a,
We're not going that far. That's a very hard spot right there by that pond. We put those culverts in 12 or 13 years ago, compacted them, gravel everything. Literally, you can take a shovel handle where we dug those culverts out and push it right in the ground where those culverts are. It is so soft.
I see it when that was waiting to have, put a 19-foot pole in it, just kept pushing.
A 19-foot pole?
So the essentially you're saying that in fact, that would be enough to be able to do what
Yes.
you wanted to do. All right,
That'll probably bring just this side the Acton Hill, or right around the Acton
It
Hill
should be
too.
right past the Acton, but
Maybe one way or the other, just a little bit.
they're gonna do the Acton Hill apron, of course, and do a little apron on Stiles Brooks.
somebody want to make a motion to accept the bid?
So
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the bid from Basin Brothers for paving and the amount of $62.95 per ton in place, do we want a not to exceed amount?
not
Yes.
see, not see the
Not to
80,000.
exceed 80,000.
Okay, not to exceed 80,000 for the entire project,
Right.
all right? So all those, there was a motion, right?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So will you notify Basin Police tomorrow
I will.
that we've accepted the bid? And there's the packet with the insurance certificate. All right, let's move on down to the highway. We'll go back and pick up the warrants later. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the paperwork. Oh, not that one, that's somebody else's paperwork, that's not your paperwork. That's not your paperwork. Let's start with, Windham Regional. What's going on? We've got.
You should have an email from Ted Nugent.
I've got
Jeff
emails.
Nugent. I called him up, I actually emailed him, and then he emailed me something, I forwarded that to Craig. I believe he talked to you.
Yeah, I called him yesterday.
And,
He emailed
he
me.
sent an email to you,
Yeah.
and it's an 80-20 match, it's not a 90-10 because it's a different, because I got the email that he forwarded me an email also. And it's an 80-20 match, it's not a 90-10 match, even though everything we have is in order.
The better back roads is always 80-20. The structures grants are 90-10. But I know, I'm clarifying what he's saying. That's where that is.
Maybe break my fingernail, now you're in trouble.
Oh.
Anyway, we were told in 2016, when we signed I believe it was 16, the grant application that it was for a network inventory.
Yes.
We still have not received that, according to God in the world. That was not done, because we've kept asking you about that, particularly when we filed for Bridge 42, because it read 10%. Okay, now we get a letter from Mr. Nugent supposedly saying that it's in place, after we've already gotten a contract. Oh, yeah. The network, I will read you verbatim what we have here.
I just talked to him today, we're doing it in the fall.
No, you're confusing things, and this is where we're getting, things are going south fast. I can't find them.
He said we're gonna do it in the fall, I'll leave it up to grade and update our culvert inventory when we do the whole thing.
It's,
Which is current right now, but it's gonna be out next year. That's what I got from the paper.
God bless it.
you want me to find it for you, Kathy?
Well, this is just
Okay,
getting
all right,
absolutely,
all right, let's find the paperclip, we'll see it
absurd.
all together.
well,
Right.
it was until I had to find
Well, I
it.
know, okay, so this is the old one, right? This says 2018, it does, so that's the old one. And then you have a new one, looks exactly the same, with a cover sheet.
Because he told me he made a typo with the 2018.
Yep, there it is.
There you go. There, Greg, did speak with you yesterday, okay, so this is the new one, same thing as that one, that's the corrected typo with
All
the
right.
cover letter.
So the cover letter is basically says, just to reiterate, Townsend's bridge and culvert inventory are up to date. The inventory maps we prepared in 2015, which is less than 3 years old, the 10% match that this qualifies the town for relates to the highway structures program, not the Better Roads program, which we just talked about. But, when we went to file the contract or the application for Bridge 42, we sat here and we had a discussion about whether or not we did or did not have an up-to-date highway network inventory which identifies the size, location, yada, yada, yada. We submitted Bridge 42, that application, saying we did not have because we were in the process of.
Exactly.
And Windham Regional was going to help with that process.
Right.
According to this grant that we understood.
But now we're coming back on the backside of that and they're saying it's already in place, so we're actually eligible for 10% on Bridge 42.
And this Better Back Roads grant that Windham Regional signed us up for has nothing to do with the network inventory, it has all to do with Act 64 or whatever it is. And the hydrologic study that you and I had lunch over
Right.
upstairs, it's got nothing to do with looking at roads, doing cost
So
projections,
I'm totally confused.
Yeah, now I'm totally confused.
bridges and structures.
I mean, because we've already applied for a very
Yeah,
expensive,
right. I am totally confused because when I talked to him a long time ago before we filled this out, our infrastructure inventory was.
That was Matt Mann that filled it out. And he put in a cover letter that said Windham Regional would help. And that application
That was
sailed
supposed to
through.
be the one, right?
Right, and now Jeff has taken his place and he just sent something through saying, you got the grant, congratulations, that was a year ago, we got the grant, it's a Better Back Roads grant.
Which you've been waiting for anyway.
Right,
But-
but what we didn't do is we didn't sign a contract with Chris Campany and Windham Regional, which is why he said, here's a contract with Windham Regional so we can get this done. He put a typo in there saying he'd get it done in a year and a half, and I called him on that yesterday saying, can't wait a year and a half, we need this network inventory. He said, well, the network inventory's done, been done, Kurt sent in the culvert list. And I said, there's more to the network inventories on the culvert list according to what the board does or doesn't sign. And he said, well, it's got nothing to do with that. They're gonna do the hydrologic study in anticipation of the rules of Act 60, whatever it is, I can't remember. It's in that letter. But anyway, so he sent a letter of clarification through when he clarified.
so
the
I
typo.
have no bloody idea what I'm supposed to sign, what the percentage
Well, our
is.
culvert and bridge inventory is done, yes, that's up to date, that was 2015, we did that. It's good for 3 years, to 2018. But our infrastructure inventory that they wanted for problem areas, remember, Everett Hammond was gonna do? Remember?
But everybody keeps referring to that as a network.
Which is why Windham
inventory.
Regional,
No, infrastructure inventory.
Wyndham Regional was gonna do it, or they used to do it.
I thought
Used
they
to help
were
you.
That was
the same thing.
No.
I thought these were all the same,
No, they.
under one
Culvert
umbrella.
and bridge, I always understood was totally different than infrastructure inventory that we talked about in these classes.
Lengthy.
But since I've been on the board, we've been referring to this thing that we're doing with Windham Regional as a network inventory. That we had to
That's
have
the only
done
thing I've
before we
ever
could, because of Bridge 42. The reason we applied for it without it is because it was my
It
understanding
was in the process.
that the Windham Regional thing was a network inventory.
And I called them, well, infrastructure inventory, that's how I refer to it.
I know, but we've always referred to it
But
as
I
the
even
network
called him
inventory.
up to
Because
make sure
that's
that
what you signed.
this was gonna cover our infrastructure inventory like 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and Kathy asked me to do that, remember? And he says, it'll all be covered. It'll be even better than what we normally do. Cause I compared him, cause he knows Mr. Hammond's work that Everett has done for Windham and Saxon River, Rockingham, something like that.
Going back a couple of years, our network inventory was due to expire. You said that Matt and Windham Regional used to help you do it all the time.
Yes,
They
sir.
ran into too much work, overload. Their GIS staff was over busy and all of that. And the board asked, could you do it? And you said it's more complicated than that. We approached Hammond. You got a bid from Everett Hammond. And then in the middle of that turned out to be expensive. And he also didn't do the mapping part of it, or at least not as efficiently and as regularly as Windham Regional does. I guess they do it every day for the state purposes. So then you talk to Matt Mann. Matt Mann actually said there's a grant coming up, helped apply for that grant, sent a letter of recommendation through. You talked to Megan Brunk at the same time with the Plum Road thing, the bank stabilization grant. They both came through at the same time.
Yep.
And Windham Regional was gonna help with the network inventory. That's what everybody understood. And then Matt Mann left. Whenever
And things have just gone into
Jeff
the
Nugent
toilet.
came in, and now it seems that Jeff is under the impression that we already have the network and bridge inventory done. We're good for the 10% on the structures grants anywhere. He wants to do a hydrologic study in anticipation of the new laws that are being passed. And that's what Windham Regional is signing up for. In looking at their website and what they've done for Townsend, it goes back to 2015. Updated culvert inventory on the maps based on information submitted by highway foreman. Well, there's more to the network inventory, the infrastructure inventory,
There you go.
than just the culvert dots on the map that say good,
Exactly.
better, best, or.
So our infrastructure inventory, what we have gone through these classes for, is not up to date. And I told Megan Brunk that.
Okay, now my question then is,
So he's
where
wrong.
does the bridge fit into all of this?
We are not up to date. He is wrong on that account. We are up to date on our culvert and bridge inventory, but not on our infrastructure inventory.
And do those two things combined make up the network inventory?
Yes.
Okay.
Because what you sign, if you read what you
So
actually
we
sign,
are
we
not-
do not have.
Right.
That's why I wanted Everett Hammond, not I didn't want, but that's why I called him. And then I got a hold of Matt Mann, and Matt Mann said that would be good for the network inventory, the infrastructure inventory.
But apparently the grant that we've been awarded is a Better Back Roads grant, which has to do with that new act and that hydrologic. You and I had lunch over, pizza, whatever that was.
Well,
Couple of months
but
ago.
that's all the troubled areas that run into the water and stuff like that.
Right,
That,
but I understood from Jeff then, and understood from you in the meantime, but the general purpose of this, they were gonna do network, and that was something they were gonna touch upon. But the infrastructure, or whatever you wanna call it, structures inventory was something that.
So in other words, the
We've been
bridge is still
pushing.
stuck at 20%. Am I getting
we're
this
stuck
right?
at 20%. He's wrong on that account, yes.
Well, quite frankly, doesn't help anything when we get letters like this basically saying, just to reiterate, down to the bridge and culvert.
I would love to say 10%, but we do not have that part of this network.
Okay, well then we'll
Which is what I
leave things
argued with
alone.
him yesterday. He argued back, and then he sent 2 letters, sir, one with the wrong date, one with the right. And the right date, I passed on to you. But that grant, that Better Back Roads grant for $8,000 with 2,000 in
That
matching.
will cover it according to.
Not if they're not gonna do it though. That's the whole point. They get the lion's share of that $8,000. They get $8,000 out of that $10,000. You get a couple of thousand for driving a truck around as the foreman. But that one is for the hydrologic study.
But that's what this infrastructure inventory is about though. I talked to Megan Brunk about it, and that's why she would give us.
Confused.
Okay, well, they're saying the target date is December 31st, 2017, I guess they changed it to 2017. So that means anytime this fall. It just means that we're stuck at the 20%.
Right.
Right.
All right.
But according to him, we're not. So there you are.
Well,
And what happened to it being done in June or July?
Yeah. They're busy doing 2 other towns.
July, yeah.
How about I take a copy of this page, this cover letter for Mr. Bostrom to take? That's the one? Yep, thank you. Send me plug in the computer, send me a copy.
All right, so I do have a contract from them to do, what is this contract for, please?
What's it say?
It doesn't.
Is that for Windham Regional Planning Commission?
Windham Regional will perform a road inventory using the municipal road inventory and evaluation interim guidance developed by Vermont Agency of Natural Resources
Yes.
in response to Act 64, Vermont's Clean Water Act. This
Like
inventory will be performed on hydrologically connected segments of class 2, 3, and 4 highways in town.
Yes.
So that's the infrastructure inventory.
That's the infrastructure. And also, we're gonna need that done anyways for our new permit that we have to pay for the state.
All right, so I need a motion to sign this, I guess. If this is different from the other $8,000 grant that we got earlier, I guess I need a motion.
What's the matter with that?
I don't know what, we signed an agreement for $8,000 for the networking. This is seems to be a totally different number.
It's a different number?
Well, how much is this one for, Craig?
No, it's, the 20% off makes it 8,000. We're borrowing 8,000. We have to kick in another 2,200 or something. If you go to the back page, it shows you the breakdown.
There is no backpack.
Well, there is. It's a small part of the clip on the clip.
It's not on the clipboard anymore, because you took the thing.
There. Windham Regional is gonna pick up 65. Kurt's gonna get 27. I'm gonna get 8, or you, if you wanna be the manager, and the town truck's gonna get, anyway, the whole thing adds up to that much money. We're borrowing 8 of it, and that's our match out of the 8.
So that is the same $8,000.
Right, it's the $8,000 BR
So this-
52, whatever the grant number is.
So this is just enacting the grant that we already got?
Yeah, we already have the grant from the state, we just don't have a contract with
Oh.
the regional to do the work.
To do the work. Got it.
That's all Jeff's asking for, it's a contract with, that Chris Campanile co-signed. Kathy's name on one side, Chris's on the other. And, Okay.
I will be happy to take it down personally to look at it.
I bet you will.
I would entertain a motion to sign this contract with Windham Regional to do this thing.
You'll
I'm
so
gonna look at
you're
this
gonna
thing.
You're gonna have to account for it for 30 years, but that's
I know.
okay. All right.
I will be here 30 years from now. Did you make that motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion that makes any sense?
That's right.
Find that
Okay.
unlikely.
Well, it's gonna, but if they don't get it done, and being state and federal money in there, it's gonna cost us dearly.
It's already costing us dearly to not have it done.
No, but that's what I say,
Yeah.
that it's not being done, it may cost us dearly before they get it done.
It's gotta get,
No,
and the other towns, there's other towns after us, so hopefully they all get them.
Let's see, it's not an amount not to exceed, but with a due date of December 30, I mean, do you want to?
What are we gonna do if they don't meet the date? I mean, what difference does it make?
Cancel the contract.
We'll have to hire out.
What difference?
I really, I can't tell you, the contract is the contract, you got an $8,000 contract, but you don't wanna spend money on this end and then not have them come through.
Right.
but if it's under contract, then it should cover us.
I mean, if they don't meet the date, we
Right, but we've been asking for them to commit to a date since last
Oh,
fall.
really?
But there is a date written in the contract, correct?
Yeah, it's
It's not really a contract, but yes.
This is December 31st.
This is an 18-month grant and final project will be completed by December 31st, 2017.
And they're talking about spending maybe 3 days up here, like 2.5.
But the invoice amount will not exceed $8,000.
There's a lot of work to get.
Oh, you know, it's mostly,
the
it's
bridge
most of
is done
it.
this year.
Yeah, come out here and GPS, take pictures and go home.
If we ever get there. The bridge is on the clipboard. We haven't gotten the bridge.
No, I realize it, but actually, you're not up to date when they do the bridge.
What?
If you do the bridge this summer,
Yeah.
you don't get it done till November, then you're still not up to date.
But it doesn't matter because we're stuck at 20%.
Right.
We're already paying the penalty. So, any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor of signing a contract with Windham Regional for a Better Back Roads grant to do the structure.
Infrastructure inventory.
Okay, infrastructure, thank you. Inventory, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. So let me fill in my name because I gotta get more papers off the clipboard. All right, there's one. Now, on to the next fiasco.
If you want, doesn't matter.
You took Paving, didn't you?
I got the
Okay.
bids, I got the bids off the table.
Okay, the bids are off the table,
Now
all
I have
right.
that contract off the table.
Okay, now-
Paperwork that goes with it.
Now we seem to have Okay.
You received the grant from the state. We have not signed a contract with the state, however.
Yeah,
Is all it is.
For Bridge
They
42.
awarded
For the
it for Bridge
bridge.
42, they awarded it, we sent the insurance certificates, we sent it all in. V-Trans, District 2 is happy, everything's in compliance. Now the state has said, we award that grant to you, please sign here. This is the big commitment. This is the Davis Bacon Act. It's a big chunk of change, and it's a subrecipient grant form.
I need a motion.
I move that we sign it and submit it,
If you want the money, you're gonna have to.
Yep.
right?
Anybody will second that?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on it? Alright, hearing none, all those in favor of signing and submitting the, yeah, what are we calling
Hearing
this?
amount 142, just give me the number on the top. It's in FMO,
FY 18 BC 1872?
yeah, that sounds good. What is it?
BC
Yeah.
1872.
Okay. 1872.
Contract with, I guess it's the
It's the state of
state.
Vermont.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, just make these go away.
142K.
All right.
Let's see a second.
I won't tell you what I just wrote there. That's my title, I'll tell you what they put. Right, another contract. All right, you can have the clipboard back too.
Okay.
Get it
And I'll
out.
take any associated paperwork, we'll just throw it all together here. Just to get it
You
off.
get it all.
Let's make
Make it go away.
Okay.
All right,
No, I don't need those yet.
that being said, and now did you want to talk about the situation with the fire pond and Evans?
I can't really say too much until you look, see what the problem is.
I'm thinking probably when that culvert failed this winter and it pushed the water down the road and it changed the whole dynamics there. I gotta take a look at it, I don't know.
Well, I think one of the issues that we discussed when she came to the last meeting was that, the fire department and
It's in the
Irv and you should all
Yeah, we
look at
got
it
all
together
three of us gotta get together and look at it.
Sure.
so that we can do whatever the state is. I guess the state is talking about
Yeah,
using it as a fire.
Brian Smith knows what the state, he was at when the state got.
Does that have a dry hydrant up there?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
No, that's
No, it
what,
doesn't.
no, they were
They've
gonna
got
put
grant
in.
book.
that's what this is all about, is a
Oh.
dry hydrant.
Oh, I see.
But there's also a lease renewal coming up. It's a
Yeah,
25-year
lease
lease, they're
agreement
down to
is what's
5.
left.
Charlie's
Sandy
tempted that.
Pond.
Fire department regarding lease renewal and maintenance of the fire pond on Ross Evans property. Specifically, Ally requested that the highway department address sediment from the road that's coming into the pond. Stoll offered to assess the erosion issue in conjunction with the highway foreman and representatives from Townsend Fire Department. So, something needs to be coordinated, you and Charlie, you and Brian, Irv, and meet with Ally. She's not gonna be around all summer, so, she's the one who apparently has to push this contract, get this contract negotiated with Charlie, this lease contract and the terms. So we should do it probably pretty quick, as long as we're up on Plum Road anyway, for whatever reasons.
What?
I guess the son's taking over the property.
So then, moving on, let's get to the transfer station, because this is becoming a thorn in everybody's side. First and foremost, I think that, since you and the crew, the highway crew, are out there the majority of the time, that it still should be your responsibility, as it has been in the past, to notify Triple T when those dumpsters are full.
Yes, I started, I didn't do it the first time, because I didn't.
Right, but I think.
I did do it the second time.
Okay.
And I will do it from now on.
Okay, because
Exactly.
it doesn't make any sense for somebody else to go out there to find out what
No, no.
position they are.
No.
So if you could contact them when they're getting full
I
and
will do
notify
it.
Triple
I
T.
did last time, I got their number on my board now, so.
Okay, and,
But when you think it's gonna be full, you may have to guess a little ahead because they're not gonna drop everything and come up here.
Yeah, do we know what their lead time is?
More than a day
It's
evidently.
more than a day.
We got chewed out.
Well, they've taken on a lot of contracts, and these dumpsters are different from theirs.
Yeah.
So, that was the first issue.
And when
Back at the
solid
beginning.
waste wasn't a day either, you said trash planning, but.
Yeah, it's a couple days ahead.
It was just kind
But
of.
now they're open,
curiosity.
now they're open 3
But
days.
last Friday, there was right around below the doors, you can usually tell, right at the doors and stuff. And then a woman came down the house, I can't remember, Esther, Squires came down the house. And, she said, they're full. I said, they're full already? And then she was saying, she saw people there from Newfane putting stuff in there. I said, they did fill up quick. I thought they filled up quick compared to normal. Because you only had 2.81 ton of garbage that.
They do away with new fans.
New
Yes,
fence is gone.
absolutely.
That's what I thought.
And that's-
And
that's-
which comes right back to the next point, we've got to start securing the highway compound. Because we can't take trash, we're not gonna pay for the recyclables out in Newfane, we're not,
Kathy, I agree. I'm not arguing with you.
no, I'm just saying, I'm just saying that it's time to make some serious, or have some serious discussions about how we can secure that area.
I say you.
But it's also why the big investment and the mandate and all the labor that's gone into putting tags on everybody's mirrors, that the attendant, and it's not you guys, but the attendant, needs to make sure that if you pull in the yard and you don't have a tag, you either get a tag because you're a resident, or you don't get to play.
Well, but there again, the majority of what we're seeing, I think, is happening after hours.
Well, no, there is
If
after
it's after
hours.
hours, they're walking in and stuff.
I know.
So we gotta, we're either gonna have to chain link fence
Well,
or-
no, we could do some simple things like zip tie shut the doors.
Yeah.
Well, we could. I think if they walk in there with bags and they zip tie, see the door zip tie, they're just gonna go.
Well, they do that, and then we can start going through it, and we'll find out who they are, and we will contact them.
And
How
we
do
had
ever
talked
make
about
out with the
updating.
cameras?
Yeah, did we get anywhere with that?
No, not
Yeah,
yet.
okay.
Well, you're talking either recycling
Maybe we
or
should go
trash.
another couple of years before we try it.
We should probably make the cameras a priority.
We
then,
should
no?
go a couple more years without the cameras. See
Well, we
how
can do
is.
it. I mean, you're looking at a couple of grand, and then you're looking at the monitoring.
Well, we were looking at a couple grand,
No.
whether it was 3 months ago or 3
Yeah,
months
I
from now.
understand that, but just not.
But there again, there's some things we can do right now, and that would be to make sure on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, when we're done, that the lids to those recyclable containers are in fact zip tied. So that
Duct
people
tape,
can't
glue,
get,
welded.
we could do that too.
Well,
solder.
ideally, and this goes back to the other thing, ideally, Triple T would like to use one barrel, because it is all single stream, all recycling goes into one barrel.
Right, right. I got it.
The problem with that is that
The
it's
weather.
it's an open container, and you're gonna fill it up with rain or
You're
snow.
gonna pay for the water. Pay for the wind.
Well, not to mention the fact that in a situation like that as well, it becomes even harder to lock it down.
I would rather pay for rain from the sky than trash from other towns.
Yeah, but you can't lock one of those
I
big
would
ones
rather
down.
pay for the rain to fall in it than the trash from the
What
other
are we
towns.
gonna do with it?
What, people from other towns are going to go put their trash in a big one as well as the little ones,
Then we'll take on more trash.
evidently.
Or we could get a camera and watch it.
To do that too?
And return it to the rightful owner.
No, I don't wanna do that.
Well, you
I
don't
know, I'm
have
not-
to. We'll
I'm gonna
have
be the
Kurt
garbage
do it.
man, okay.
We'll have Arnold do it. We'll have somebody besides you do it.
Okay. Not gonna be me.
Well, you got places in Newfane to mow, can't you just drop it off anywhere?
I tried that, but just tailgate spread it from here to there.
Route
But-
30 is like trash bag.
But yes, we do need to have a discussion about what might be able to be done out on the compound to secure it.
Do you want me to start tying I can do that tomorrow, I'll tie them right up and cut them off Thursday morning.
The zip ties.
Sure.
I
We
think
can
that's-
get them in bulk, we can get them dirt cheap
Yeah,
from
they're-
anywhere online and just order them in short ones, and they probably don't need to be more than 6 to 8 inches long. And relatively easy to cut with a pair of side channel.
And you have to make up a sign also, I think.
Are we gonna have to change Arnold's description on the mornings to get it?
He's
cut
gonna
off,
have to
or-
lock it, he's gonna have to lock it up at night, and that's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world to do, if we've got those dumpsters with the doors. Some of them come through without doors.
That's right, the cardboard doesn't have doors in it.
Well, yeah, and sometimes anyway, whatever, we'll do the best we can.
And we need a sign, a time sign, you're supposed to get a sign with the times on it and stuff.
Yeah, 'cause they're gonna say that
Arnold seems to be
condo
making up
thing,
his
yeah,
goes.
that I see people are still putting, they're sorting to a certain mass because they put their corrugated in it, it's only got a little opening in it, and that was pretty much all corrugated.
Well, one of the other issues that we just had today when we were sitting here doing tax bills, was the fact that Arnold came in looking for more of the, food bags, the recyclable compostables, which we have blown through an immense number of those. My biggest question, something that we're going to have to start watching.
Are we sure there's food in them?
Where people are taking them for garbage, and I'm almost positive that's what's
Are
going
we
on.
giving, as you put one in, you get one back, or are we giving them a 12-pack of them?
We don't have supervision over the attendant at this point. He has that understanding, that's the way it's supposed to be. And he has the little bags, I think that's what she gave him today. And I don't know who's asking for them or why. I haven't seen any come in, but I assume they are.
What's the status on that secondary,
Oh, and the
container?
The compost workshop we had last week, it was, they're on the way, they're on order, but I don't know, it's probably gonna be a lot easier to start a Perkins and buy one. It's just a roll-around cart.
Just
Who
get a
cares?
big garbage
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
You know?
What happens, where do we bring it?
Well, you don't.
It's just a way to separate
The
it
food-
so that it goes in one thing.
Yeah,
Don't
but
get
who
empty.
picks it up?
The recycling food is going to Windham Solid Waste, but it's going there by way of Triple T, and it's going there by way of the compactor. So what ends up happening is you bring in your little green bag full of chicken carcass, or cow carcass, depending on what you can get in there, and you drop it off with Arnold. He's
Paper
putting
plate.
it, toward the end of the day, or whenever a bin is full, he's putting it into the compactor off to the side, supposedly. It's gonna break open. Well, when you dump that stuff down in Triple T, or Brattleboro Salvage on the floor, they're taking those little green bags out and they're taking them to Windham Solid Waste.
That's the way they wanna do it.
That's the way they said to do it. Now, we can get, and we have on order, whatever comes in first, a container from Windham Solid Waste. It's part of a grant system. We only pay 20% toward it, but they're not cheap. They're like $140. You know, it's got little wheels on it. It says recycled food here, kind of thing. So that when people come in with their food scraps,
It's clear where it goes.
it's clear that it goes in there, and you can't have tin cans and glass bottles and trash in
I
there.
understand.
Or tin foil and stuff, because Arnold,
I
the attendant,
understand.
should see it. If they know just to throw it in the compactor, then as Kathy says, my God, the transistor radios and TVs and the old roofing shingles are going in there with it, because it's a free bag, and Arnold's gonna give you a bunch more, you know, kind of thing. So, I mean, that's the reason why we want it separated into a separate container, even if it's going into the compactor later. So, looks like I'm getting cameras and a roll-around barrel.
And then before we actually get to the warrants, let's have this discussion about the tree company, about D&E. What, we got your message.
I
that-
have an idea about that too.
Okay, what's your idea about that?
My idea is, they wanted to knock a couple $100 off, and you guys didn't want to do that, which is fine. But, and I cannot find people to flag for us. I've called 5 different companies. I called 3 of them all the time. And, why don't we have D&E come up, do some work, we will flag and work with them. I guarantee we can push them harder and get what we want done, and get a full day's work out of them, plus get the hours that they owe us mixed in with that. Because we gotta get some trees down with a bucket truck.
I was gonna say, have we identified some trees?
Kathy, I told you I have a ton of trees for them to take down, yes.
You didn't tell me you had a ton of trees. Last time I asked that, I was told you didn't have a list.
I never said that, we have all kinds of lists. I have class 3 roads list, class 2 roads list, Windham Mill Road list.
Well, that was what I was supposed to call them with a list of things that needed to come down and negotiate something for them, and you indicated that there wasn't something.
Back to this whole thing with the list, it's like if the tree doesn't have any leaves growing on it and it's leaning towards the road, could we just cut it down? Do we really need a list?
No,
For
but
some
I
people
know where
to
they
work.
are. I have them in the trucks, I got them in the office, we have plenty of trees to come down. I wanna get the class 2 roads, the high-speed roads done first, that's my main concern. We take care of the class 3 roads without power lines involved, pretty easy, us guys.
When?
Which we can do, when we were
When
doing.
have you?
When have we?
Well, Kurt, we go
I
around
started,
in a circle. There's a million
I
trees.
started doing that, and then we started to get this bad weather, like rain all the time. Dirt roads love rain, so that changes our whole dynamic.
Well, all the trees didn't die in the last 3 months, 4 months.
No, but we've been cutting trees this spring. You see our timesheets, you read them pretty well,
Every week, yeah.
so. Yeah,
So your proposal is that we have D&E come out and do some additional work,
Right.
and then we'll work with the crew?
well, we will flag, because obviously they don't flag well, they don't flag legal, and we need flaggers, it's law. and somebody else will be working with them to push them along.
And you will also be there to supervise.
Yes. And we'll get it done much faster and get what we want done,
Well, the
and
whole,
get the time that they owe us mixed in with that.
the whole premise behind what was going on with D&E was the fact that we didn't put a large amount of money in the budget to
Right.
be able to cut trees. So we wanted to focus on those trees that were a hazard.
Well, I have some that are a hazard,
And if that's the case, you have some that you've identified as a hazard,
yes,
and it would make a full day's worth of work,
yes.
then
Just branches in some of them, I mean, it's not entirely.
it makes sense that we go ahead and recoup whatever
Yeah, exactly.
we didn't get the first time around,
And,
so to speak.
and pay for the rest of the time for that, to finish out the day, yes.
So is there anybody, any
That-
ideas, any?
That sounds like a reasonable solution to me, as long as we can make sure it gets coordinated.
I have to know, I will coordinate it,
Okay.
so I know, I just can't have a phone call, say, you know,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
The other issue with that as well is that bill is back in the warrants folder tonight. So we would need to decide what to do with that as well. So is there a motion that we wanna move forward, or do you want more information, or what would you like to do?
Well, what I'm personally thinking is that I mean, do we know the D&E would be agreeable to this?
We don't,
We don't,
I
okay.
would call them up and see.
Okay, so I think it would make sense to fail the warrant, have Kurt contact D&E, see if they're amenable to it, and then have him coordinate it, and.
I mean, when he talked to him last time, you weren't here, but when he talked to him last time, John apologized for, the crew that came up unsupervised. We didn't supervise them up here. And, they didn't do a job that anybody here wanted to consider professional. So, I mean, that's why they haven't been paid, and this is pushing 6 weeks now. So I think they'd be amenable to making up a difference, and then they offer.
I mean, it's also in their
Then they
best
offer
interest,
cut
because
the
there's
pay.
gonna be more work,
Sure.
so for them to make it up.
And
to
going
us.
on camera every 2 weeks isn't good PR for anybody.
Right, yeah.
And then, I mean, 4 of us could do some of the tree work that we don't need a bucket for, but if Joe, you still have your flag card, would you still flag for us?
Not collecting taxes.
Not like that. Because I tried to call people, and we had people take flagging classes with us, remember, and nobody has.
They done a big class, Newburgh, Wyoming. I want to do one.
Well,
I mean, I would move that we take that position that we fail the warrant.
Well, you
When
can't-
when we get to it,
Right.
we deal with the warrant when we deal with it, but we have Kurt contact D&E,
Okay, so you're instructing Kurt to contact D&E,
ask them if they're amenable to,
tell them.
tell them that,
Right.
yeah, tell them your proposal and coordinate going forward with it.
To have D&E come up here to cut hazard trees.
is there a second to that?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Right. Hearing none, all those in favor of having Kurt contact D&E to see what we can work out, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I stay.
Only 2.
Vote in the affirmative, the motion passes. Okay, so that's all that was on my do-want courtesy list. Do you have anything for us?
Yeah, I gotta take down the tree tomorrow on the commons, is that okay with you guys?
You gonna take it down? You take the stump out?
Want me to take stuff out?
Well, that's the question, because we got fair days. You've got next weekend, you've got a concert on the common, next Saturday, and then the following Saturday, you've got fair days.
I'd make a motion to cut it flat to the ground, so a mower can go over it.
I mean, we can pick the stuff up, but I don't think it would be great to do it before those things. I think
Just
it
cut
would
it, cut it flush.
just be a mud.
Just cut it flush so somebody doesn't trip on it.
Leave it tall and use it as a coffee table.
There you go.
Talk to Mike next time you run into him, fitting and have him stay a little further away from the trees, because all those, the trees actually need some soil put on them. He's coming across the root balls with the mower. They're getting clipped and then they're just getting shaved, where the roots are popping up. He's bumping into them, the edge of the mower, they're getting gargled around, and as he does the trimming,
you know, the little string trimmers coming in. 4 out of 5, well, we got 1 maple tree dead. There are another 4 or 5 maple trees in serious distress on the common. The one across the street at Leland and Gray, that maple tree is in distress. The one in front of Annette Lee's is dying. There's one at Overhill Road. There's one in front of the Heinz home. There's one in front of Gould's that's going down or dead, and one in front of Charlie Marchant's. Well, there are 2 there. One is in serious distress. I mean, you look at them, and 30% to 50, 60% of the crown up of the main branches are
What's
just
this got to
bare.
do with the common?
Huh?
What's this got to do with the common?
It doesn't. He's cutting one tree on the common, but those trees are
So
expensive.
should we take the stump out or not?
Well, no, cut it flush.
So we're not gonna take the stump out, we're gonna cut it flush, and hopefully Mike can not bust up the roots and the base of the other trees on the common.
Right.
And if he could take in his time when he is mowing, as we've said before, start to finish, weed whack the front and anything else that he's mowing.
That was the first thing I wrote down.
What's that?
The string trim, I wrote that down the first thing.
Good.
Okay, so
Before the meeting started.
so what else do you have for us?
Jeff Nugent, Christine Angels, I put more seed on her thing, our seed we have is, there's bags been there since I've been there.
Oh, we saw the bill for the seed map, is that what you're talking about? Or do you have to go back and do it again?
Seed map?
Yeah, there was a seed map that we got from WW.
Oh, it's cheap. It's 10 cents a foot for that matting, 100 feet goes across. It's just that netting, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That just holds the seed in place, keeps it from eroding until the seed takes.
But you have
if
to
the
do it
seed-
again
But
after that.
I didn't buy any more mat, I just replanted the seed, because the seed is not
Old, not
done
germinating.
anything. So I bought a bag of seed today and reseeded it in the rain, so.
Did we get a letter from her?
Nope,
Not yet.
A letter from
Chris?
Chris, not yet.
about her being okay with it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure she'll talk to me sometime, so.
A little something in the Christmas stuff.
Yeah, that's about, we've covered everything, paving, V-Trans, Nugent, Angel, Common, Trees, D&E, yes, that's all I have.
did you have anybody else have anything for Kurt?
Yes, performance appraisals.
Oh, I do have this. Okay. Oh, shoot, I forgot to put this in there.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
So,
All right,
Additions. Back to the warrants.
back to the ones. Where they are.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 1 out of the payroll in the amount of $9,328.55.
$28.
82.
$9,300.
Did I miss that? I might have missed that. Or did I?
$9,328.55.
Yeah, you reverse numbers.
I did?
No,
No, Craig did.
Craig did.
Yeah.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant number 1 in the amount of $9,328.55, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 2 of payroll taxes, amount of $3,644.18.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll tax warrant number 2 in the amount of $3,644.18, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 3 out of general fund in the amount of $5,022.70.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 3 in the amount of $5,022.70, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 4 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $892.85.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 4 in the amount of $892.85 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 5 out of the highway fund in the amount of $1,250.98.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant number 5 in the amount of $1,250.98 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 6 out of the highway fund in the amount of $1,400.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
That's the D&E?
Yes.
I would say that we need to,
You can't,
You can table it
you could table it
until it's brought up
as
again.
opposed to fail.
As opposed to failing it or approving
Yeah.
it. Because you're not confident in the number, and there's a negotiation underway.
Okay,
Okay, so there's a motion to approve it, because that's what Rob is doing, and seconded by Steve, but you can amend that to table, I suppose. But I'm just throwing it out there.
doesn't really matter, is it just semantics?
You're on camera. It matters. Everything matters. Robert's rules matter. To the parliamentarians.
anybody have any choice?
But if Robert's comfortable in amending it to a table,
Renege my motion and change it?
change it
You
to.
can
I'd make a
rescind,
motion to,
or you just rescind the motion.
I
to
would
change.
rescind the motion and change it to tabling the warrant number 6 out of the highway department at $1,400.
Is
To
the
the next,
Second.
to the next meeting.
Steve amenable to that, since he's
Second.
second? Okay, so now you have a table motion.
Is there any discussion on the table? Hearing none, all those in favor of tabling that highway warrant number 6 until the next meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 7 out of the general fund in the amount of $81.13.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? That's kind of a strange warrant.
That's a funny one.
That's because that's the library electricity, which is now being paid out of the general fund.
Actually, the next one will be out of the general, yes, that's a June bill though.
But this is a June bill, and it's going to have to be billed back to the library because they did have electricity in their budget. So it will reduce the surplus we allowed them a couple meetings ago by that amount of money.
Okay.
So is there anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of paying general fund warrant number 7 in the amount of $81.13, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes.
To be reimbursed.
All right, you should have, did we?
I don't know if you had a template.
I didn't get
I don't think we had
I
a
don't think so,
counter
this,
money.
not this week, no.
Uh-oh, you can pick on her. Uh-huh.
Where's the petty cash?
Well, I don't
New
think
fiscal
she's
year.
taking any money in, because it went to the bank. The last of the last year's money the other day.
Yeah, we have some back here, or Elaine took some in today, checks for bags.
Okay, so, the treasurer's report.
Well, of the two funds, the sweep account and the checking account, you have $732,183.09.
Combined.
9 cents, somebody give him a penny and they'll have 10 cents. Are there any questions?
Mr. Bissonnette will do that when he pays his
Okay,
taxes.
give him the penny, okay. We have no members of the public
Oh,
then.
how much have we spent since the last time?
Correspondence, we did receive, or I received, or we all received actually, via email, a request from the principal at Leland Gray to at some point in time sit down and have a discussion with the board about the relationship between the town and the school. And I will be meeting with him sometime next week, can't remember what day it was, just to basically lay the groundwork for some of the things that we've seen over the years. And once we have that done, then we'll formalize having him come and speak with all of you. If that's okay.
Now, that invitation was also extended to, and I don't know if that'll morph into the meeting, but it was also extended to the new principal at Townshend
At the
Elementary.
elementary school.
And the superintendent, who's in his second year, I guess now, isn't he? Bill
No,
Antoni.
yes, he is,
Yes.
but he's, I don't believe he's going to.
But it being summer and vacation time and all that, we may not get everybody in the same room at the same time. But anyway,
Is there any other,
there is a reaching out.
yes, was there
Yes.
any other correspondence?
No?
No? Have we actually addressed some of the correspondence that we had left, like there was a letter to Walter Meyer?
Nope,
yeah.
Okay,
Nope, that one hasn't gone. The one to the library did, and that one needs a follow-up because they've sent a return
right.
for clarification.
Well,
Actually,
they also-
two to-
it's
two to
also
the library.
changed.
Two to the library went. Huh?
It's also changed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Other
it's
than-
changing, well,
other than one.
it's changing again, so that's a good thing.
Then moving on to old business, governance committee, you haven't been here with us, Will, so we didn't know what to do with that.
Well, I reached out to try to coordinate some scheduling. Members of the committee were not enamored with the idea of a workshop. I think just based on what I perceive as misconstrued comments that may have happened. I am going to try to revisit that, and I think it's a good idea for us to have a workshop. It will be a warrant meeting, there will be minutes taken, but it will give us all a chance to go through the report and
Yeah, you asked me for clarification on that, and about halfway into my third page, I put a stop. I parked the draft, and haven't gotten back to it since. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that, but it would be that allowed. But a workshop is just a chance to, as you're well aware, dress rehearse what you're gonna talk about, if you have any,
Questions?
exactly,
Questions
it's
and-
question and answer amongst
Right.
all of us.
and then when you come back onto a formal meeting, at least then you know a little bit about the direction you wanna take this in, and what kind of resolution you wanna come to.
Right, the biggest distinction is there are no decisions made at a workshop,
Right,
technically.
right,
I mean,
yeah,
it's-
it's a discussion forum for all of the,
Well, and the governance committee did
Parties.
not put out a concrete proposal either.
Correct.
It's not like they made a recommendation that the board can actually, so whatever would be gained by having them meet in a formal setting is going to be conversational anyway.
correct, that is my
And
thoughts.
in order to keep it from becoming, I don't know, real interesting, you might wanna have a workshop first, but that's up to you guys.
Anyway, so if you could let us
So I
know
will, yes,
what it is, if nothing else, if they're not interested in participating, then,
we will just have to have our own.
well, we'll just extend our thanks and be done.
Mhm.
But I would really like a chance to be able to ask some questions
Yeah.
of some of the things they found, or things that they brought forward, points they brought forward,
Mhm.
before taking it any further with the public.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, the smoking policy, we almost,
You made a motion to approve it, and it therefore gets posted on the wall for anyone to comment on. Nobody has in roughly 30 days, but you also didn't sign it. But basically, with your signature, it becomes the rule. There is a time period at which, during which people can petition to protest it. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's mandatory, mandated. But basically, it will be 30 days this week. And it's time to put it into effect and into force a little bit.
Then I would move that we sign the smoking policy and put it in force,
Second.
that we adopt it.
that we adopted, yes.
Still
And
second.
there's a second, okay. Is there any discussion? The only discussion I have about it, and it came to my attention today when I was sitting there being bored, cutting my fingers on tax bills, is how and when are we going to be able to deal with the enforcement piece?
My argument to
You mean
that
who's
would
gonna be the police person of the town hall?
My argument to that would be that unless it's somebody that's visiting, it shouldn't be an issue. Anyone who's elected to office, anyone who lives in town, ought to be respectful enough to honor the policy. There may be some corrective things that need to be said from time to time until people get used to the new policy. Nonetheless, I don't think it's gonna be a contest. I'm assuming it's not gonna be a contest with adults, but maybe it
I'm
will
kind
be.
of with Craig, I think that we should put it out there
Yeah.
and,
Would it also make sense to
Go with
add it as an addendum to the personnel policy?
Oh, yeah, no, the personnel policy needs to be updated with a variety of things that have happened over the course of the year, and it needs to be rewritten anyway, as Kathy will,
Yeah, it's right over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got it.
yeah.
Yeah, but we could
Wanna
add
start
that
now?
immediately, we could adopt that
There-
immediately
there-
as an addendum.
There are a few phrases in there Kathy would like to change, I know that. That having been said, I would, personally, I would put the policy out, assume that everybody's gonna behave. And, you know, if somebody from out of town comes up the walk and somebody has to say something, then somebody can say something. But most smokers are fairly conscientious of others,
That-
especially when.
You know better than that. You sat here with me today. You sat here with me.
Oh, I made mention that you already have an enforcer in the building that nobody wants to tangle with, and she
She said
gets
no.
it in her mind that she's gonna enforce a rule, then by golly, nobody wants to, I wouldn't wanna get into a boxing match with her. And she can outrun whoever she might be considering reprimanding. So in any event, I would try it. We'll cross the bridge when we get there, you call the constable.
Exactly, I think right there.
Self-policing at first, and if we.
Don't cry until you're hurt.
Excuse me.
Not you, I'm saying, as in
The royal
people
we.
that see somebody smoking and we.
Smoking policy, not drinking policy.
Yeah.
The smoking policy though has been warned, it is posted, has been distributed, and we still have people that are deliberately violating it.
But
You
because
want
there's
us
no
to come down
smoking
here and
sign
slap
for the
them
porch
around?
coming up, as soon as I get the barrel and, you know.
So you are
You're
going to
all
decide.
signage all the
I'm
time.
gonna put a, yeah,
All
I'll put no smoking sign on the post out there.
All right.
Well, it
so-
should be at the end of the sidewalk and say, this is a smoke-free property.
I'll put it over across the street, yeah, okay.
I don't see what's so hard with this. This is not the end of the world. We are in the 21st century. There is thousands of places that are smoke-free. We're not asking the end of the world.
Nobody's saying you are.
Well, no,
I'm just saying
well-
who's going to enforce it, when you've already got people who know about the policy, who are more than familiar with what's supposed to be going on, that are still doing it.
And it's the same jackasses that we've argued with in town meeting and everything else. So it's like, what do you want us to do?
Well, maybe the
Not-
adoption of
not
it
a-
will
I mean,
carry
just
some weight.
adopt it and roll with it.
Grab a fire extinguisher and take care of the
Exactly.
issue.
Go up, slap the cigarette out of his mouth, or her mouth, or whoever it is.
Whatever, this is at your behest, as I recall. I believe you're the
Yeah.
one that brought it
I
forward,
am.
so,
I
okay.
am. I'm also the one that has shot down a few things and it's passed and we still argue about it, so. Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Do whatever you want, I don't care.
There's a motion, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the Townsend smoking and tobacco policy signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion passes, we all need to sign it.
With pleasure.
And put adopted up at the top, and date that at the same time.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, thanks.
Go this way first, then we'll come back. All right,
Can I also move that we immediately add it as an addendum to the personnel policy going forward?
No.
Okay. And I'm not sure how that.
try that again.
And try to get, of course, I'll put it in there, sure.
Yeah,
Add to personnel, but I don't know when the personnel policy committee is actually gonna get together, being now summertime,
Right.
vacation time. But when we get back together again, we'll try to.
Okay.
See, personnel policy. We'll get the committee together.
Just to look at that. Okay,
Putting the band back together.
then the next thing that we need to start thinking about, and we all groaned when I told Craig I wanted this on the agenda, but the town committee,
Absolutely.
town report committee, we need to find a group of people who are willing to donate the time to put together a town report for this year, since we're actually going to have numbers.
Nominate Cliff Bassett.
Oh, really? God, I
Okay,
hope so.
How about Kevin?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, no.
spread the word, because we need to get an idea, at least in our heads, as to who this committee is going to be, and we're also going to need to start having the bookkeeper pull the numbers, which the entire report is based upon.
Right.
And she needs to know what they want to do, what kind of format they're gonna use, so we need to think about
There's some planning
putting
that
this
has to
together,
happen.
yes.
Yeah.
And the deadline is essentially Christmas,
Oh,
to be able to get the booklet out.
You need to be
and
able to
everything.
be prepared to go to publication the end of the first week of January, which
Yeah.
means you need to be draft ready at Christmas, because New Year's is
Right.
night.
No, they gotta be drafted before then and get.
Oh, no, yeah, you need reports coming in November, before Thanksgiving. We've always targeted around Halloween for preliminaries, but people need to be thinking about it. I always schedule budget workshops for the end of September, as Kathy knows, and little by October, we begin to think about it. But we should have numbers by then. We're gonna be audited at the end of October by McSorley McCoy. You guys did the contract last week. We are beginning to close down. I mean, last year was closed down for practical purposes. For technical purposes, it's not. There are still some issues, but it is coming together for finalizing numbers. And within a few weeks, we should have, hopefully, some agreement on how 2017 closes out. 2016 is done, gone, history. And you're setting a tax rate on that here shortly.
All right, so, again, get the information out, or get the word out, anybody who might wanna put in a couple, 3 months, putting together bits and pieces so the.
This is a
the town
volunteer committee.
is absolutely volunteer.
Okay.
All right, then moving on to new business, the tax rate for FY17. I'll make a motion that we set the residential homestead rate at 2.1087 and the non-residential rate at 1.8645. Is there a second to that?
second.
Is there any discussion about it? That's after, from the workshop, we left it, we knew
Yeah,
there was
right.
gonna be an adjustment. That's the
Not
finalized
much,
number.
not much of an adjustment,
No.
but it does change when we crunch it in the computer. It does change when you get ready to push out tax bill samples by a couple hundreds of.
Yeah, I got one question. Is that any assessment on that electric generator that Townshend
Yes.
has?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
See me after the meeting.
Okay, so any other discussion on the numbers? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the tax rates at 2.1087 for homestead and 1.8645 for non-residential, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. In your box, you all should have had a copy of the town plan, the draft town plan. It makes for some nighttime reading if you've got so inclined. We need to, we need to just set the hearing, right?
The planning commission has put this together over the last many months and has had a public hearing on it, has adopted it, adopt is the wrong word, but they've accepted it and forwarded it to the select board. They're requesting that you guys review it and basically make it the Townshend town plan, at which time you will have to have a public hearing. We'll put it, 15 minutes before a regular meeting sometime, see if the public shows up. And if you adopt it that night, there'll be a waiting period for people to petition and add anything. If you have any comments or if you have any editorial suggestions, the planning commission is open to obviously discussing and entertaining them. We need to get this into play as soon as possible. It's 2 years out of date right now. So anyway, they are done. There are 4 maps that go with it. They're color maps. I didn't include them with it, but I do have copies back here if you want them. You will get a final version printed once it is adopted. They're just expensive to print and include. But anyway, and some of you have already seen this. It's been modified a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it changed much from the last
No,
one.
it hasn't changed much at all since February or whenever that was. So you actually saw a preliminary copy. Some editorial changes and a lot of grammatical and typographical font changes and paragraph consolidation changes. Index was up to date. But anyway, so that's before you, and hopefully sometime in August you can plan to have a regular meeting. I mean, if you're comfortable with this, have a look through it. If you have any questions, give you the names of anybody on the planning commission to ask.
or we can try to get them here at a meeting. But when you are comfortable with it, if we can schedule a public hearing in front of it, then you can present it to the public basically, and it'll be hopefully something that isn't too complicated to adopt. Once it's adopted, we'll put it into play. It'll get revised in a few years because the legislation is changing rather rapidly. Anyway,
So
there's that.
at this point in time, I've read it, and it sounds like you've read it, Will.
Yeah, I read the first round.
I was gonna say, would you
First
like to,
page?
would you like to push this to the next meeting so that, and then decide when to have the hearing so that you all can take a look at it, or are you ready to go, or what would you like to do? We just need to plan a public hearing, and have a discussion
Yeah, I
about
think,
it.
I would move that we push it to the next meeting, because I'd like to reread it. I mean, I read it in February, but
Okay.
retention
Anybody
being
else?
what it is. And then we can set it together at that time.
Okay, so our next meeting would be, oh dear,
Yes. I would think.
8th,
8th,
yeah, 8th and 22nd next month. So we'll push it out to the 8th? And then.
does that leave us enough time to
I
set a
don't,
hearing?
on the public hearing, I'm not sure what, I may need to warn that
30 days.
30 days
30
in
to 45
advance.
days.
Right, so it may have to be the second meeting. Well, actually, that may not cover it either.
No.
I have to check. If you want to schedule it for the first meeting that I can get it warned for, which may be the 1st of September. I mean, whenever you make that meeting, but I can,
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
because I do think I do think it's 30 days that I have to warn the public meeting.
30 to 45.
30,
30?
between 30 and 45,
Right.
right, yes, that's what I meant.
Okay, well, the first meeting in September is going to be the 12th.
Okay.
That's out of your 45-day window. Right, Chuck?
Well, I have to wait to warn it for another week.
Okay.
So I can warn it for the 12th, but I'll keep it under 45 days.
So how about that, that gives you
Yeah, that should give us ample
45
time.
days.
5 weeks.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to set a public meeting to discuss the draft of the town plan for September 12th at 5:30?
You can do it at 5:30. I mean, to be honest, nobody showed up at the planning commission hearing. Nobody's come to I mean, we had some discussion last year on some of the context. But I don't envision having much reaction to it. We'll see. But I don't envision it being too controversial. I think it'll be a fairly quick hearing.
So
To
on
be
the
honest
12th
with
at 5:30?
5:30.
Second.
We need somebody to make the motion, actually.
I'll
Oh,
make it.
you make it? Okay. Okay.
All right, any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of having a public hearing on the draft town plan on the 12th of September at 5:30, signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions?
Cool.
Motion passes. Is there any other business? Is there any need for an executive session? Steve, you received a copy of the evaluations. Is there anything we need to talk about?
I think so, yes.
So you think we should have an executive?
Yep.
All right. I gotta find my citation just a second. All right.
Clerk, you want this personnel policy?
Is it? There it is. All right. I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session under 1 VSA 313A3 to discuss the evaluation of public employees.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that?
313, 8,
A3.
8,
A3.
8, 3.
Hearing none, all those in favor of moving into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. There most likely is not going to be any resolution. I think we're just going to discuss what we were given.
There won't be any resolution. You can go 7:20.